Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Create Yourself Imagery, Intimacy, Innovation, a place where people from all walks of life and various backgrounds come to share their transformative personal and professional stories of restoration, confidence, clarity, and empowerment. They're here to share their helpful tools, resources, and affirming guidance. I'm Joyce Giles, your global speaker, author, trainer, and coach. And if you're ready to transition, transform, and thrive, this is the podcast for you. Today's episode, you all that have been following and listening to my broadcast for a while, you know that I am always excited, pumped up. It's like every week we have just the most amazing guests, and this week is no exception. I have known this young lady now for, oh wow, at least I'm thinking maybe close to 14, 15 years. It's been a while. We have known each other for a long time. She is just a phenomenal woman. And I'm going to share a little bit about her from the bio, but I want to just say from my perspective, just personally speaking, she is just a force to be reckoned with. Her energy, her demeanor, her care, her passion for this work, for this movement, it's unmatched. And she does it from her heart. It's sincere. And you'll get to see and understand why when we start our interview. But she's just a good person. Beautiful on the outside, beautiful on the inside. And it's her inner beauty really just makes the outer beauty just stand out that much more. But when I tell you all, she is not to be played with and not to be tried. She is all about the business of serving and what servant leadership is all about. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her based on the bio, but then we're going to jump right on into you all getting to know who she is in her own voice. So LaTrossica Wilson is a Memphis native and author. She is nationally recognized advocate dedicated to breaking the silence around incest, rape, and sexual abuse. Her honors include the Tri-State Defender Best in Black Author Award, the WREG-News Channel 3 Memphis Community Changer Award, and she is the founder and executive director of the No More Silence Foundation. It has been in existence since 2018 as a 501c3, but I can tell you she's been doing the work before then, but that's when it actually came into existence. Under her leadership, they have earned a proclamation from Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris and partnership of, who is also in partnership of the Shelby County Cultural Pass Program. She is a Christ believer, wife, and mother, and her mission is very clear. No victim should ever be blamed or silenced. Their stories matter and their voices deserve to be heard. So I will present to some and introduce to others a Memphis change maker and voice for survivors, LaTrossica Wilson. LaTrossica, welcome to the show.
Hey. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for your listeners being here and getting ready for this roller coaster. We don't know if we're going to laugh. We don't know if we're going to cry, but we here.
All right. Well, you know what? The beautiful thing about this podcast is that you get to do them both once, twice, couple of times, three times, whatever, however it leads us is where we will go. So we're going to laugh, we're going to cry, we're going to shout, we're going to help and support, show, tell about the tools and the resources that are available, and just have a good time because that's what Create Yourself is all about. It's all about what it means to transition, transform, and thrive. So let's do this thing together.
Yes. I'm here for it. Let's get it.
All right. So I shared a little bit about your bio, which is also available online so people can see it. But I do want you, in your own words, to just take us on your Create Yourself journey. Like, what made you decide that this was the path for you and this is the right time for you?
Wow, that's a good question because I'm still trying to figure out if this is the right path for me. but I will say that it's definitely a journey. And I tell people all the time that every day is a healing process. But starting this, it all started, it had to start when I was a child. And the advocacy part of it is basically just speaking for everybody else and not speaking for myself, basically. As a young girl, I had family members and friends who were going through so many different things at home, going through personal issues with family members. I mean, they would always ask me or say, how can I help them or what should they do? And so I started just giving people tools and I guess advice on how to maneuver through their life situations. Um, and I would leave myself out. So I think that's kind of like where it started, me just being there for everyone else and kind of leaving myself out until I found my voice. And I found my voice through writing. And how that happened was I would sit down and journalize. I would say from the early age, I remember, I think I was about 10 years old. I started journalizing what I wanted my life to look like. Things had begun to happen to me before I turned 10. I was raised by my great aunt, who her husband started molesting me at 8 years old, sexually abusing me. And I had younger brothers that was in the house that actually heard my cries and would hear the things that were happening, but no one would say anything. No one would do anything about it. And so I started journalizing. I started writing because I knew that in that pain, even though I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone or I couldn't tell anyone what was happening to me, I knew that at some point, or I felt at some point, this was going to have to end. And when it ended, I wanted to know or I wanted to feel what that would look like for me. So I started journalizing and doing different things to kind of keep myself in a positive mode, regardless of what I was going through. And I'll just tell you, I just think that the trauma for me started early because my mother had me at a very young age. She was 14 when she got pregnant with me. She was 15 when she had me. And during that time frame, she ended up staying with my great aunt, who actually was the one that raised me, which is her father's sister. And so when my mama started going through the things that she was going through, as I got older, I started learning about the things that she was going through. It sounded like the cycle started repeating itself. And for that to happen, I think that's kind of like where things just kind of took a toll for me as a child, just growing up, learning that my mom went through some of the similar things that I went through. And she had no one to depend on. I didn't have anyone that I felt that I could talk to, even though people were coming to me. So over time, I just started building myself up and just telling myself and I guess training my mind to know that one day things is going to be better for me. So I'll just move you along. My great aunt ended up dying when I was a teenager. I think I was about 15 when she passed away. So when she passed away, I ended up staying with a friend from school because my mom was in the streets during that time. My siblings and all of us got separated. So as I started staying with this friend, we couldn't get along. So her mother was like, hey, we got to do something about this. They ended up contacting my father, who at the time I really wasn't close with, but they ended up contacting him, had to go stay with him. So by that time, I ended up staying with my father, and I got sexually abused by my father, who was actually a pastor at the time. And Joyce, it just seems like my life just kept spinning. And it just seemed like things were never going to get better. And after going through that with my father, I ended up leaving his house, ended up in a relationship with my then boyfriend from high school. We started living together, went through domestic violence with him. And it just seemed like things just never was going to get right. But during that time, all the times that I was going through all of that, I was writing, I was praying, I was talking to God. But then I felt like God wasn't listening. I felt like, I couldn't tell anybody. When I finally did decide I was going to try to tell my stepmother, the things that happened, she didn't believe what was happening to me. So I just started writing my life out and just telling myself, you know what, one day I'm going to get married. One day I'm going to have children. One day I'm going to have a nice home. And things are just going to get better for me. And I just kept telling myself that. Being with my boyfriend at the time, the relationship was abusive. Went through all of that with him, ended up getting pregnant at 19, had a daughter. By the time I had her, I knew I had a purpose. I knew I had a reason. And that reason was her. My why was her at that time. It was like she could not see me in a dark place anymore. So during that time, I believe that's when I really started thinking that, something has to change. Got out of that relationship, end up on my own. I was homeless for a little while, got through that. And once I got through that and was able to meet the love of my life, who I'm with now, I thank God for that. By 2009, got married to him. We've been married now 16 years. Before that, I was able to, after we got married, I started telling him, this is when I really started open up. I started telling him about the things I went through as a child and trying to figure out, what do I do and how do I maneuver through this, because I'm still thinking about this stuff. This stuff still hurts me. And I was trying to figure it all out. And during that time with him is when Turning Pain into Power birthed. And Turning Pain into Power was actually my first book that I wrote, which was written in 2015. When I wrote that book, Joyce, I was not intending to tell people what happened to me, but I wanted people to know that these things were happening. So in 2015, I was actually working in the school system. Some people know this, some people don't. I was working in the school system. People were telling me things that they had been going through. The children had been talking to me about things happening at home. Teachers had been talking to me about things that had been happening with them, parents. And so it's like everybody's just telling me these things. And so I just felt like, hey, I can relate. I can understand because I've been through it myself. And so then when I wrote the book, Turning Pain into Power, I started telling the stories of those individuals as well as my story. And I had one girl in the story to go through it. Her name was Sugar. And the reason why I chose Sugar is because my auntie named me Sweet Cakes as a little girl. She was always said I was a sweet girl, even though she didn't know the things that was happening. She always said I was a sweet girl. So Sugar actually went through all the changes that each and every last one of us went through. But I had to be real discreet, Sister Joyce. I had to be real discreet because I knew that some of the stories I was telling, I really couldn't tell a lot because some of those individuals that had hurt, the ones that had been through what they've been through, they were still out there, including my abuser was still out there. So I had to be discreet, but I still wanted to get the story out. So that short book was published in 2015. After that, Sister Joyce, I went through another hurdle because the book publishing company that I paid to edit and publish that book had to close down. They shut down. And so when they shut down, I just felt like things were just really just crazy. But God and behold, I prayed, I talked to God, I trusted God, even though I didn't tell you years ago when the things I was going through for 7 years, I gave up on God. I tried to commit suicide. I didn't want to be here, but because in the back of my head, I just really believed that there was a higher power. There was something that was really there that was going to help me through it. I just continued to pray. And then by 2017, that's when No More Silence Foundation was birthed. I believe that in the process of me educating in the school and doing intervention, being an intervention specialist in the school, I believe that I needed to be able to talk to people and communicate with people through my story. And what helped me believe that is the police officers, the law enforcement that I was connected with at that time. They was telling me, like, you need to talk to young people. You need to be able to let them know what you've been through so they can know that they can get through it just like you did. So all that happened, and it's just been a journey ever since. So I just been advocating, and I wanted to start with the toddlers because I knew that I was, as a younger, even though I remember as 8 years old, I'm not sure exactly how early it started, but I just believe when children start talking, they need to be educated. They need to be talked to about the things that people do, because everybody are not good people. Some people hurt you. And I know that hurt people hurt other people. So beginning to talk to these children and these families just really just gives me joy. It gives me great joy. So I tried to wrap it all up, and I hope that you guys got a lot out of that, but I hope that you understand, like, it's a lot that happens, but it's a lot that needs to be talked about. And I've just learned that in my silence of helping other people with their problems back in the day, I had to, at some point, release my silence and talk about my problems in order for me to get the help that I needed for myself. And so that's where I am today, is just I'm helping others, but it's helping me as I help them as well. And I love every moment, every minute of it. And when you talked about the path there earlier, and I said, I don't know if this is the path for me. I don't feel that I chose this path. I do believe that it was a purpose. It was a reason. And I believe that reason is sometimes when I feel like I don't have the answers, or when I feel like, there's no hope, the people that I communicate with, they give me hope. The people that I listen to their stories, they give me hope, even though they feel like I'm giving them hope. So, yeah. But writing and doing DIY projects were my coping mechanisms. And now I'm giving coping mechanisms to everyone else, helping them, whether it's through music, whether it's singing, whether it's dancing, whether it's writing. And we're doing that by joining forces with law enforcers, local artists, advocates, educators, and survivors. That's how we do it. We do our prevention, education, and coping with those individuals. And it's called our PEC system. So.
Wow. Just wow. Because I know you, so a lot of this I'd heard just from conversations that we've had. I knew that you would be powerful in what you had to share in the delivery in which you shared it. So I thank you for that, and I hold space for you that you continue to walk with your head held high, and that you continue to share in the ways that you do, and that you continue to heal. One of the things that you mentioned as you were sharing about your experiences is that you knew that there was something more, like it was just burning in you that there had to be something more, there had to be something more, and that you use journaling as a way to cope. And I often share with people, the importance of writing. And, you are a person of faith, because we talked about it early on, and you've shared it throughout your telling of your story. So you know that when God talks to us and through us, that he tells us, scripture says to write the vision and make it plain.
Right.
And so what you were doing in your young self, that you may not have even realized in your young self, but you were manifesting the life that you wanted to have in the midst of all the chaos and the hurt and the trauma and the drama that you were going through. There was still something deeply rooted in you that was still allowing you to manifest and speak on what it is that you wanted for your life. And that is a beautiful gift. That is a blessing. And I know that you know that, but just hearing it and you sharing it, I hope that those who are listening to this conversation that we're having will take from that no matter what it is that you're going through, no matter what experiences that you're having, that there is another way, there is an other side, there is hope, there is a way to heal and to thrive, and that there are people like you, people like me. I'm gonna throw myself in there, because you and I, that's how we met. And our stories are different in the ways that we experienced abuse, but it was still trauma nonetheless. And so much of what you have experienced and how you came into this is certainly how I came into it, in that other people would ask me about, well, what do you think, or how should I do, and how should I move forward, and how? And I'm like, good at helping everybody
But
but
me.
me.
Yeah.
So, I can definitely relate to that. And I think that honestly, I'll say for me, helping other people was a way to help me,
Mm-hmm.
in that in some ways it was helping those individuals to do what they needed to do, but
Right.
it was a coping mechanism for me.
Right.
And it allowed me to deflect.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't think so much about what I was dealing with, because
Right.
I was able to focus on someone else. And I think at that point in time, in my experience, you get to a place where you just get tired.
Right.
because, for those who know me, or, look me up or listen different podcasts, they know my experience is actually with domestic violence
Hmm.
and that it comes in different forms.
Hmm.
And so for me, it just got to the place where, you know what, I will not do this any longer for myself, for my children. Like, and you mentioned about your daughter being your why, my children became my why, that I still didn't feel like I was strong enough for me personally, like
Hmm.
just me.
Right.
But when I thought about them, and you know what, I can't do this. This is not fair to them. And with domestic abuse, it's so many different forms, and I can say people didn't see me getting hit like that. That wasn't the case. It was all the other pieces of it. And so I
Hmm.
often say that domestic violence is 80% of what you don't see and 20% of what you do.
Hmm.
So by the time you see it on television, where people have been fighting, all these other things have already happened. And so I didn't experience that when it was time for me and the children, we need to do something else. It wasn't because I was being physically abused. It was all this other stuff, and you just get tired. So I am so glad that you shared not just the experiences that you went through that caused your pain, but how you have turned that pain into purpose and power. And that is what Create Yourself is all about. It's about the imagery, the intimacy, the innovation, what it means to transition, what it means to transform your life, what it means to thrive. And you are doing that 16 years in with, as you say, the love of your life. And I know that he is, and I know he is yours, and you are his. I know this. So anybody who is around you all for 2 minutes, they know, okay, this was meant to be. So I am so happy that you are doing the work that you're doing and that you are indeed making a difference in the community. And so I do want to transition into the thriving parts, the parts of what your organization does and how you do it, and the ways that we can support you in your continued work.
Yes. So we try to keep it simple. I know that we've always been like I have anyway, a go, 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 go. So we try to step back and narrow it back and just keep it simple. And so, like I told you earlier, it's the PEC system. It's pretty much our program. We provide prevention, education, and coping. Now, with that prevention, we do it in the scenario method. So basically, when individuals come to us, or a lot of times when they come to us, it's really by word of mouth, or either they have come to one of our events or something and they've seen us out and they want to just know more. So we teach them prevention methods through the scenario method by just giving them scenarios and talking about, like me and you were just doing, talking about what we've gone through or what we've been through, and then kind of giving them steps to kind of prevent that from ever happening again. Or if it has not happened to you, giving you those prevention steps to show you how to keep it from happening. And the educational part is a tag team method. And we call the tag team method because we tag team with law enforcement, educators, local artists, advocates, and survivors to actually help us tag team with educating these individuals. And it's like I said, it's the families that we try to keep together. I know that a lot of families are divided. Mine was very dysfunctional in certain areas, divided in so many areas, but I love family. I'm a family girl with my children and my husband. I love family. So we educate them on how to be a strong family and how to make their community better by showing up as a family. And so we do coping through the arts. We use art as a coping. We use art to actually show them how they can manage their trauma without hurting themselves or hurting others. Like I said to you before, I've tried to commit suicide. I'm still here. There are others that have tried to commit suicide. And we try to just show them that you don't have to take yourself out of here. There's a reason and a purpose for you being here, first of all. And then individuals around you, you can actually show them that they can continue to be here. And we do it just through art, bringing everyone together. Art is love. We just believe that art is love. My children are artists. A lot of the work that is done is through some of the art that they have, and another local artist that we have that's in-house with us. And then we just bring it all together. Prevention. education and coping. So that's our PEC system. So anyone that wants to be a part of that, they can. It's very simple. It's very simple. All they have to do is just, let us know that they want to learn more information, and we can just set them up to come in with us and go through that process, the PEC.
Sounds good to me. And all of your contact information is listed underneath this podcast. So they are easily accessible. So, and LaTrossica is definitely a personable person. So if
Yes.
you are experiencing, any type of abuse, but certainly in the space of sexual abuse, um, she's definitely the person to go to, and she's going to be honest and personable and caring, and non-judgmental. And I want to lift that up because sometimes people are afraid to go and talk to folks because they're afraid that they're going to be judged, and that, well, why didn't you leave sooner, or why did you allow this to go, just all of the things, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I know that there are people who are listening, who may have gone through some type of experience along these lines, and they've not talked to anybody. They need to talk to someone. They want to talk to someone. And what I have learned is that so often survivors, people who are being victimized, they want to talk to someone. They need to talk to someone, but they're afraid to because they feel that they're going to be judged. They're not going to be believed. And I love that, part of your motto and your mantra is that, as I read it at the beginning, everyone deserves the right to live free of abuse, and they deserve the right to be safe. They deserve the right to be heard.
Mhm.
Um, so I love that you're doing the work in the ways that you're doing it. And I just want to encourage anyone who's listening, if you are going through some type of trauma, some type of abuse, and you need help and support, please reach out to LaTrossica, because she is connected to others in the community that can help and give you the resources that you need. And as I always say, if you're listening and you are in immediate danger, please stop right now and call 911 or your local police department. What we don't want you to do in this session or any time is to feel that your voice is not going to be heard, believed, or respected. There are people who will advocate on your behalf to help you through the process. If you want the help, there are people who want to help you.
And if I can say that, even though we're not licensed counselors within our organization, we are a support team. Each and every one of us have gone through some type of trauma. So in giving the services that we provide, it's basically, like you said, a non-judgmental environment where you come in and we're just that support. We're pretty much that team or that extra family that you may not have, to hold your hand, to walk it out with you, to talk it out with you, and then to give you those methods, like I said earlier, prevention, education, and coping. And you take those tools and you apply it in your everyday life. But we bring in those law enforcement, those educators, and different ones to help us along the line, because, like I said, we're not licensed. So this is non-clinical work that we're doing, but we know that it's needed because all of us experience trauma in some type of way. I know there's individuals that teaches ACEs, which is adverse child experiences. All of us have gone through those adverse child experiences in some type of capacity. So it's always good to just have somebody to help you walk through what you've gone through. Because we just need that support. And for me, I had people to help me build that support when I couldn't tell family members for over 20 years what was happening to me, because individuals were in leadership and they were not going to believe that this person did it to me. So we are that support, like she said, non-judgmental at all. We're just here to hold your hand and to help walk you through your journey.
That is so key. That is so important because there are, I always say that each of us have been equipped to do certain things. So where you're offering that sense of peer support, that sense of love and support and care, and let me give you the tools that you need from a supportive perspective,
Correct.
whereas then we can direct you over to, okay, I'm not a clinician, but here's a resource, or
Correct.
here's a number of individuals who are actually clinicians that can talk with you, that we have talked to, that we have worked with, that we know, that we trust. And that allows you to be that safe space to say, okay, well, LaTrossica has given me this information to help give me this support. And I can go over here to this station and get this clinical support. I
Correct.
can go over here to this station for law enforcement needs and support. So you have helped to create a village, if you will, of different tiers and within what you do. And
Yes.
whether you, yeah, and I think that as you started doing this, you recognize, okay, this is the part where I can show up and help. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing that I admire so much about you and the work that you do. I used to work for the Shelby County Rape Crisis. It was Crime Victim Rape Crisis Center. That's what it's been renamed to. It was called something different when I was there, but it's the Shelby County Crime Victim Rape Crisis Center.
Yes.
And I always said I was good with working on the DV side of it all, going to court, talking to the survivors, giving them the resources, tools that they needed, those types of things. But the rape crisis part was always a bit more challenging for me, and not just as so much from the adult perspective, but for the children.
Mhm.
That that is not my calling in my ministry. It's not. And I recognize that because I had to be near a room one day,
Yes.
and they were talking with clients and this type of thing, and just being in the area. I went back to my office and I cried, 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 cried. I cry with the people that I'm commissioned in purpose to serve. I cried with them too, but it was a little different for those babies for me. And I always say God knows who to give what assignment to.
Mhm.
So if you are a person, and of course, this is for those who are believers. And I just believe that, you know, Almighty God gives us all different assignments. We're all assigned to work with different people in different ways because I've had people who tell me there's no way, I don't see how you sit and talk with DV survivors and the things that they share. And they say, and sometimes they are physically, you know, disfigured,
Mhm.
but I can do that. And I actually, like you, I love the work. Like I love doing it. I genuinely love that work, but I couldn't do what you do. And I recognize it's because I'm not supposed to. So your trauma, your pain was to help you with your purpose and your path, just like mine is to help me in mine. Because I can't do what you do, you don't do what I do. But together and as a community, as a village of people, we can truly help the masses to heal
Yes.
and find that new path. Because yes, I am 11 years now into my marriage. And
Hey.
so when we talk about the loves of our lives, and isn't it a blessing
It
that
is.
the Most High God has given us men in our lives that can show us what love really looks like,
Real love looks
what
like.
healthy looks like,
Health.
healthy
Yes.
relationships
Yes.
look like. And then as a bonus, the work that we have done,
Yes.
the work that we do, it takes, I always say it takes a strong partner,
Yes.
you know, um, to walk alongside and love us and support us in this journey. So while I don't do it in the same ways that you do it every day now, because I did go ahead and dissolve, but I'm still doing it. In fact, there's a meeting I'm going to be a part of tomorrow night. So it's going to always be in me to do. But I'm so glad we talk about thriving in this space.
Yes. Yes.
So, with that, ma'am, we are getting to the end of our time together. So,
Okay.
I just have a couple of other questions I just want to throw out here at you. One,
Good
if you
answer.
have any, okay, do you have like any events, any products, any services, anything that is going on right now that you would want to share with our listeners? Even right now and then ongoing, because people will listen to the replay. So, just any ongoing support and assistance that we can provide.
Because we are revamping some things and the building that we're in right now has been sold, we are not even sure where we're going to be in 2026. So I don't have anything right now that I can bring anybody to. I know we do have our annual holiday tea party that we do, and you know that you was our first speaker, first vendor for that event back in
Yes.
2017. And so we're not doing that as a community open to the public ordeal anymore. It's a private event, and I won't be able to share right now where it is, but just know it's in District 8 because we serve in District 8. But we have churches now that have been adopting our program. So we will be in the District 8 community and a church this year hosting our annual community tea party for a particular community. So if you or anyone that you know would like us to serve or do our pop-up coping session, because we do have pop-up coping sessions, and I can tell you what that is. We're just coming out with our coping mechanisms, whether that's sewing, dancing, singing, music, journaling. We come out with our pop-up coping sessions, and we do those. So if you are anyone that would like for us to come out to your event or would like for us to come out to your space and just show you what that looked like, that's something that we can do. We don't have any product or anything for sale right now. We all are spinning our heads just trying to figure out where we're going to be in 2026 because our building has been sold. And I just ask for everyone, solicit everyone's prayers so that we are able to land somewhere where our work is definitely needed. And
Okay.
that's what I have. But
Okay.
follow
Well,
our website and our Instagram, our Facebook, and our website at No More Silence Foundation. The website is www.nomoresilencefoundation.org. And then we're on Facebook, Instagram, at No More Silence Foundation. You'll be able to see where we're going to be and who our sponsors are for the upcoming event. If you have any toys or anything you may want to donate to the children, from toddlers all the way up to elementary students, and we also serve in high school and senior citizens. So if you have any toys or any gifts or anything you want to maybe donate, that would be great as well. We also take monetary gifts too. Just check out our website to find out how you can do that.
okay. That sounds perfect. And again, we are petitioning and soliciting that all will be well, as a really dear friend of mine that you actually favor. I'm gonna tell you about that later. Uh, um, but she always says, all is well, all will be well. So, it's not a matter of if you will be in a new place in 2026. It's going to be about the when and the where. So that's already done. But just knowing that, those who are listening, if they do require and desire services from you, that you can actually come to them. So
Correct.
that is always a great thing. So that way we can keep the work going because
Yes.
it's needed and it's necessary. So my last question then, as I ask everyone, is if there are any, and let me preface this by saying you have shared so many great points and encouraging words already, but I always like for my guests to close out with sharing if they have any main points, any encouraging words, any tools, any resources, anything that you would want the audience to take away from our create yourself conversation. So,
Hmm. My a lot of times when I close out a speaking session or an event, I try to leave the audience with one word. Last year, my word was breathe. I think I had used that before. It was breathe, just breathe. So this year, I've had a word all year, and I want to use this word for this purpose. And that word is forgive. I know that's so hard to do at times when someone hurts us. It's hard for us to forgive them. And so I want to talk about that. Is just let everyone know that I think that we all should learn to seek the ability to forgive others, not for them, but for you. Because forgiveness is not about excusing what happened. It's about releasing the weight that keeps our hearts bound. God calls us to forgive because he knows the burden of unforgiveness harming us more than anyone else. When we hold on to hurt, bitterness grows, peace fades, and our joy becomes tangled in the pain of yesterday. But when we choose forgiveness, we choose freedom, healing, and the ability to walk fully in God's purpose for our lives. Be kind and compassionate to one another. Forgive each other just as Christ forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. Forgiveness opens the doors to emotions and spiritual restoration. Unforgiveness, however, can poison the heart. It steals sleep, disrupts relationships, clouds judgment, and keeps us from experiencing the abundance life God has promised. It becomes a chain that ties us to our past. But forgiveness is God's way of breaking that chain. For you to forgive others, their trespassers, our Heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others, neither will our Father forgive your trespasses. That's Matthew 6:14 through 15. Last thing, choosing to forgive does not mean forgetting, nor does it remove accountability. It simply means you will no longer let the offense control your peace or your future. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Once that restores your joy, renews your spirit, and places you back in alignment with God's healing and love for you. That's what I have. I just want to thank you so much for allowing me to be on your podcast. And I thank your listeners for listening.
And we thank you for making time and space for us today. Oh, I love the gift of forgiveness. Thank you so much for your time, your talent, your gifts, your purpose. We appreciate you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
And of course, to my listeners, thank you for tuning in today because without you, I could not do what I do. So until next time, go forward and create the life you desire and deserve. And remember that you can do so at any age. Let's continue to transition, transform, and thrive together.